Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's another day, another drama in Hollywood.
Disney's doubling down.
Disney is doubling down. Remember how the rumors were going around that Disney was going to ease up on the wokeness?
They're not.
That's not going to happen at all. In fact, it seems like they're doubling, tripling down on it. This is coming from Variety yesterday, that Disney-owned ABC sets new inclusion guidelines to amplify underrepresented groups on TV. That's a nice way of saying they're instituting affirmative action for TV shows.
That's the first thing I thought. When I read the write-up, I was like, this is affirmative action for television.
And I'm not meaning that in a derogatory way or anything, but literally they are telling you if you want to have a show with ABC, you have to have at least 50% diverse, non-white or non-straight people on the show, or it's not going to get made.
Now there's like what 4 or 5 different like categories, and you have to meet like 3 of the 5 or 4 of the 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this because this is huge. And you know, we've said repeatedly on the show. I know a lot of people say that we say things that we don't actually say. We are 110% for diversity and inclusion in entertainment. I think it's a
organically.
Good thing. Organic. I think forcing people to meet a quota to be able to work in Hollywood, that's not the way to go about it.
No.
And what's going to happen is we're going to have a lot of people just opt out. They're going to leave.
They already are.
They're already leaving Hollywood, and they're going to go start their own entertainment companies.
There you go. We should start our own TV shows.
There we go. There we go.
It would be weird, but we should do that.
And it's not because people are racist or anything, because you know, we're getting all kinds of. You guys be shocked at the number of emails and DMs, and this is why we don't get back to people right away, that we get all the time. And we have people that are, you know, from underrepresented groups who are like, why do these companies want to, like, you know, why don't they just actually cultivate talent, go out and find talent and cultivate it instead of trying to push this? And it's always like a bunch of white people trying to force, you know, it's almost like to ease their guilty conscience or something. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I'm 100% for diversity. I just think that there's a right and wrong way to do it, and this one just strikes me as a forced way to do it.
This is a really stupid way to do it, because what's going to happen is, you know, like I said, you're going to have people get fed up and be like, I don't want to have, you know, a box that I have to be in.
Well, this reminds me of the stupid guidelines they have for the Academy Awards, for the Emmys. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up too. This is blowing through Hollywood, guys. So if you want to work in Hollywood, just be reminded that you're going to have to make movies and television shows by committee, that they're going to tell you exactly what kinds of people, what kind of characters you're going to have in your show.
And if it's based on your life, it doesn't matter. People, and if you're white and straight, you have your cast or crew or somebody has to be not white and straight.
Both.
Because, you know, even if it's based on you, it doesn't matter. Your life must have changed because they said so.
Right. And that's the takeaway. And people are going to get fed up and leave. I know people are leaving Disney in droves. People are literally moving out of Hollywood now. And I think we're going to see alternative entertainment industries pop up. So ABC sets new inclusion guidelines. This is coming from Variety in a bid to create a further, they're putting it in quotes. I think they even think this is kind of ridiculous. Further catalyst for real and sustained change. ABC Entertainment, owned by Disney, has set forth a slate of new inclusion standards for all primetime series to ensure multi-dimensional representation across the entire creative and production process. Mm-hmm. The initiative is meant to increase diversity both on screen and behind the scenes. In a letter to creatives and colleagues, ABC Executive Vice President of Development and Content Strategy, Simra Sethi, I hope I'm getting that right, laid out the new inclusion guidelines and offered up a database of diverse and underrepresented talent. This sounds very Soviet-ish.
It kind of, yeah, well, hey.
Like,
that's all you have to say.
Here's
sums up a lot of people.
The list of people you must work with. She offered up a database of diverse and underrepresented talent and crew, as well as a list of vendors owned by members of underrepresented groups. You will work with these people. You will work with these vendors if you want to work with us, said Disney-owned ABC. These new guidelines are intended to make our content and our sets as inclusive as possible and will serve as a further catalyst for real and sustained change.
Yeah, you already said that. Boy, you have to say that a lot, don't you?
We want to take this moment to evaluate systems and habits in an effort to remove barriers to access and opportunity. Why not just find and cultivate the talent that you can find, and regardless of their race or gender or sexual orientation, just let talented people.
I was gonna say, just find people that are the best for the job. That's all you have to do.
Don't exclude anyone. Maybe here's a thought. And this is a crazy thought I've had. And I'm really big into pushing for entertainment coming from other places in Hollywood. Maybe the reason that you're not getting a very diverse group of people working in Hollywood is because Hollywood is inbred.
Yeah.
And maybe you have to go out to the rest of the country to get a better feel for where people are at. I know you don't want to do that because it might scare you, because they might think differently than you do in Hollywood. But it seems like you could solve so many of your diversity issues by actually going out to the other 49 states.
They could solve so many of their lack of good entertainment issues too by actually, understanding that there are a lot of people with different ideas that aren't all, in step with theirs. Because it's like, if you aren't part of their far left or whatever groups, you might as well forget it anyway. We saw this in the past for years. They were blocking people based on different things, and it wasn't right then, and it's not right now. This
is coming from mainstream publishing too. This is the way the publishing industry works. People wonder why there's so many people working in graphic novels and comics and stuff that it's whatever the flavor of the month is. Those are the so they're basically looking at the authors first, and they're seeing what kind of people they are.
Not whether or not they can do the job.
Right. Not like, is this book actually going to sell? It's like, what's trendy this month?
Now, the kicker is, out there in the world outside of Hollywood, there are a lot of people, a lot of different kinds of people who are very, very good at what they do. And you probably could find some very good, qualified talent that is diverse if you actually looked, but that's hard. Anyway,
you have to pick from the approved list.
That's just it. They have to be the approved people.
The approved list.
So they can claim they're diverse and use people for shields. Go ahead.
This is bad. This isn't, look, just to show you how uncreative Disney is. This is like this isn't even a corporate thing. This is like freaking Bolshevik bullshit. It's important for us to look around the room, see who's not there, and then take the steps not only to bring them in, but also set them up for success.
Well, I'm expecting every type of person ever to be represented in Disney.
Yeah, they better.
They better have every type of person. Whatever, every checkbox must be met on every type. Or they're racists, phobes-anists, sexists. They're against handicapped people or whatever. They're just, if you don't have all these people, there, then there's something wrong.
Well, they have to be from the approved list.
No, but that's not the same thing.
They have to be on the list.
No, I'm just saying, if they're going to be truly diverse, they have to go out and represent every person. They better have, somebody on there who is, maybe mute in a wheelchair that has alopecia and is an albino for whatever race they are. And they better have all those on there, or they're being phobes-anists.
Well, the fact that they put this out there, what's going to happen is you're going to have people from underrepresented groups complain about the lack of XYZ person, even if maybe for whatever reason there aren't any readily available persons that meet those descriptions.
Doesn't matter. They should go and find them.
This is...
I'm just saying, you're opening Pandora's box here.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is, it's not going to be about good products again. It's going to be not about good stories and characters. It's going to be about check marks.
That's how they're going to market the show. And this is what, going back to High Guardian Spice, on Crunchyroll, right? The cartoon on Crunchyroll that was marketed for who was working on it rather than whether or not the show was any good. And that was why there was blowback. It wasn't because people were angry that, LGBTQ people were working in cartoons. For God's sake, they've been working on cartoons since day one. But they were mad that it was basically just a diversity pitch. Like, look at our diversity. Oh, by the way, we have this cartoon too.
We're going to be getting more of that, guys, because that's what this whole thing's about. It's not about what a good story, good characters. Because before, there was a lot of people working, that there was good shows, good characters, good people behind the camera, working behind the scenes and on screen that were diverse and talented. But now it's not about that. It's about, you have to lead with that.
But yeah, that's how they're going to market these shows, right? Because they're saying that they want at least 50%. We're going to talk about the percentages here, but be like, coming soon, coming this fall to ABC, a show that's 64% queer, watch our show.
Yeah, or something like that.
You know, it's also 72% black and 13%, well, that's not enough.
Female.
52% female. And I'm thinking this is like Willy Wonka numbers. We're just like, and oh, by the way, here's the plot.
That's 100% awesome.
But it's 100% awesome. Yeah, this is going to be a cluster. When it comes to on-screen talent and characters, the mandate asks, no, they're not asking. The mandate asks. That's not a mandate.
No, the mandate and ask don't go together. That's not how
the mandate asks.
Informs. Mandates inform.
Tells you creatives must fulfill at least 3 of the 5 guidelines. That includes having 50% or more regular and recurring written characters from underrepresented groups, 50% or more regular and recurring actors from those groups, and meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in the overall themes and narratives in a series. Similar criteria are asked of below-the-line crew and creative leaderships, including half or more of episodic directors or producers and above-level writing staff coming from underrepresented groups. Okay, remember that video we did a couple months ago and people said that we're full of shit, where they said that white guys in Hollywood were freaking the hell out?
Yep.
This is why. Mm-hmm. Because they're basically saying, it's got to be 50% or more, not you. Mm-hmm. Is what they're saying. And
you can't discriminate unless they're the ones discriminating.
They're literally straight white guys are the only guys that are persona non grata. Like everybody else is an underrepresented group, but we have more than enough straight white men. So get the hell out of here.
Pretty much.
Get the hell out of here. Go move to Florida or something. Bunch of racists. Similar criteria are asked below the line. Okay, so in the career development arena, criteria includes paid employment opportunities, showrunner participation in Walt Disney Television talent development initiatives. Okay, so let me get this straight. And this is why we're seeing, and I almost feel like animation was a litmus test for this stuff. We're gonna train you to be a showrunner, even if you don't have the innate ability to do so, even if you have
skills, anything.
Experience. This is why we're getting 23-year-old showrunners on cartoon shows.
She-Ra.
Because you were, and you skipped a bunch of steps. Because usually to become a showrunner, you pay your dues for years, working in the trenches. But if you come along and you're the right kind of person from an underrepresented group, well, you get a shortcut to the top. As long as you're on the list. The approved list of approved people.
Good luck with that, ABC.
Good luck with that. Or guild mentorship programs. So basically, if you don't have the talent, we're going to train you.
Quote unquote, teach you the talent. Because it doesn't matter if you have the skill or talent. It only matters about your adjectives.
So
Are you gay enough? Are you, not white enough? Are you, not male? Okay.
And I get mentorship and I get, trying to bring more diverse people into the fold. But if there's no innate talent and you're just bringing people in to fill a quota, this is going to be a fucking disaster. I mean, it is.
What's going to happen is they're going to have to, like we saw with She-Ra, they're going to have to bring in people who know what they're doing, but then they're not going to let them have the credit.
Chuck Austin had to fix She-Ra. You never hear about that. Because it goes against the narrative that you had to bring in a 50-something-year-old man
who knew what they were doing,
decades of experience, and he was never in the photos, and they barely mentioned him. And he basically said he didn't want to bring attention to himself, but he was.
He was probably told not to.
As I understand it, he was basically the showrunner who was there to babysit, as long as he wasn't,
taking credit
for his
work.
So the network hopes to reach the goals incrementally with the aim of meeting 2 of 4 standards by May 2021, 3/4 by October 2021, and all 4 standards by May 2022. By May 2023, ABC will be for sale.
Yeah, the show is the show is offering showrunner training. Inclusive hiring advice. So here's a list you can pick from. Apparently, if they're on Blackish, you could hire whoever from that.
Everybody on Blackish gets to be a Disney princess.
That's right. And other resources to help creatives meet the new guidelines. Creatives? What creatives? You took any creativity away from that. You basically said, be creative, but here's the parameters.
This is, look, and I am, again, I can't stress you, we're absolutely for better on-screen representation, more opportunities for underrepresented people, but forcing it in this way, you're gonna bring in a bunch of people who are gonna be subpar, who are gonna further burn down the entertainment industry. But that's okay because Twitter loved it.
Yeah.
That's great. You're gonna piss away.
Twitter gonna be around in 2022.
Yeah, right. You're gonna piss away shareholder money. You're gonna piss away. I mean, Disney's already in the shitter right now. For ABC to come out and say you have to hire so many people from our approved list.
Wait. I'm looking at the standards. Standard A, on-screen representation. Characters, 50% or more regular recurring written characters come from underrepresented. They go about roles, but then I love this one. Meaningful inclusion of underrepresented groups as secondary or more minor on-screen, including background actors. Even the background actors have to be, representative.
How do you know if characters walking around are LGBTQ or something unless they're wearing a pride shirt?
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, how stereotypical is that? Like, we're not going to look at people as being people, but they're props.
The series premise: meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in overall themes and narratives. So every fucking show has to have a theme of underrepresentation. Why don't we just call it, the, inclusion channel or something? It's just like, this is ridiculous. I'm all for it. I'm for diversity, but you're flat out mandating that all the themes and narratives have to specifically include diversity. I'm like, then it's not going to be organic. It's going to be forced, and it's going to be a load of shit.
What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong if you put a bunch of people in that maybe aren't qualified?
Right. So B is creative leadership. Producers and above have to be 50%. Episode directors have to be 50%. Casting directors from an unrepresented group or has not previously worked on Walt Disney Television show in this role. Wait. The casting director themselves has to be a minority.
Yeah.
Or has not worked there before.
Wow, this is going to go really bad. Hiring a line producer and production department head who has not previously been employed in that role on a Walt Disney Television.
But that's below
show.
line. This is the real leadership first. Substantial year-over-year increase in numbers are underrepresented groups. Promotion of a member of the underrepresented group into a role that constitutes career progression for at least one member of the writing staff. So one person, it doesn't matter if they deserve a promotion, one person that's underrepresented has to be promoted no matter what, whether they deserve it or not, because they have to.
Yeah, well, so much for Disney not going woke. This is like freaking communist. I mean, you have to include X number of people from our approved list in these roles, or you won't get the blessing of the state of Mickey.
Did you see the last one? Industry access and career development. Paid employment opportunities such as apprenticeships, internships, and expert advisors to facilitate union eligibility for members of underrepresented groups to make sure they are qualified to be joining the unions. You have to make sure you hire these people and give them these. You have to make sure you pay them for these things. So basically, they can have interns that aren't paid if they're white, but if they're diverse, they can get paid so they can be in the union. That's basically what it's saying. Training opportunities and skills development, craft, creative business, including one-off and student work experience opportunities. First job for member of underrepresented groups in a role that constitutes career progression. So
I love this in very, very fine print. In very fine print at the bottom. So they're not breaking any laws. Context is critical when evaluating if a group is underrepresented. In very fine print. Anyone involved in hiring decisions is prohibited from asking candidates and talent about their actual or perceived race. Wait, actual or perceived race?
How can you have an actual or perceived? What their actual race is and what you perceive it as.
Religion, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, military or veteran status, age, disability, or any other legally protected.
So they don't legally have the right to do this anyway, is what they're saying. No. They're putting this big show out there, doing this whole big damn thing at the bottom. Like, well, we're not allowed to discriminate legally. So we're not allowed to ask if you are this thing. You can go in there and pretend that you are an underrepresented individual. Doesn't mean that you are.
So, I mean, this is going to be a disaster. This is like Disney just burn it down. Just make
good things and make sure that you have diversity included. And don't make it a giant, a big show of it and put a chart out and all that. But the chart that means nothing by your fine print. I'm like,
God, this is like a gender studies college project.
Well, their chart reads like a gender studies college project.
It's like this is not the way, Disney. You're fucking done. You're done. You're hemorrhaging money. You're laying off 28,000 people. Okay, you need hits, you need TV to do, you need movies to do well, and television to do well. And what you're going to do is mandate that people adhere to these ridiculously strict guidelines.
But you, by your own mission, shouldn't be allowed to mandate anyway. You're not
Right.
allowed to ask people these questions to hire them based on, because it's discriminatory.
And what you're going to wind up doing is chasing off a lot of talent, and they're going to either go to your competitors or they're going to go start another studio somewhere, and they're not going to come to ABC, and you're going to lose more money.
Well, that's okay. Hollywood and Twitter are going to pat them on the back, even though they make up a very, 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 very small percent of the global marketplace. A small percent of the global marketplace. But good luck with those back pats.
Well, not to be outdone, the entire state of California law mandates diversity in corporate boardrooms too. So basically, California is pushing for forced, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it like, forced integration or forced, like it's not even going to be about hiring the right people.
Well, how about you just hired qualified people to begin with, whether they were white or otherwise, and straight or male and otherwise, to begin with, and then you wouldn't have to have these giant announcements.
Right. I mean, yeah, doesn't that make the most sense? Like, oh, by the way, for the last, and this is what pisses us off so much about, when they take a dump on Filmation, with the old He-Man and She-Ra cartoons, they had organic diversity 30 years ago. And they didn't scream it from the rooftops. It was just everybody knew, like, hey, we got lots of
No
gay
one ever
folks.
thought anything of it.
Nobody thought anything of it.
Like, there's a whole show about, a black family, and no one cared. They're like, everybody watched it anyway. No one cared. I love this, though, that you highlighted, okay? Doesn't matter, guys. As long as you self-identify as whatever, you're fine. The legislation defines underrepresented as a person who self-identifies as black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American, or an individual who self-identifies as a gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender person. Well, don't you know there's a lot more identities than that, just FYI. So as long as you self-identify, if I walk in white as a sheet like I am and tell everybody I'm a Pacific Islander, and that's what I see myself as, I'm good.
Who are they to question my race? Yeah, I'm waiting for the next thing to be like, we're going to do genetic testing before we allow people to.
Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
here.
It doesn't matter if you're.
Gattaca.
That's what I was thinking, Gattaca.
Oh my God,
It
it's gonna
doesn't
be
matter
Gattaca.
if you're a male or female, though. It just matters if you identify as anything other than straight.
Oh, okay. So I could basically say, yeah, I'm bi, but I've.
You can say you're a lesbian.
I'm a lesbian. Yeah, I am.
There you go.
I am. I'm a really hot lesbian.
There you go. I'm just very manly because of, whatever. I mean, this is stupid.
I'm a masculine
It just defines it as someone who self-identifies. You don't even have to be those things. You just have to self-identify as those things. This is the stupidest thing
This
I've
is
ever
a
heard.
law.
And it's insulting to those who are, in the minority groups.
Because I would always wonder, here's the thing. I would always wonder, did I get this job because I deserved it, or did I get this job because they had to fill a quota?
I don't know. Does it count that I'm part African?
I don't know. Technically, you are. Yes, you took a genetic test.
So does that count? Even though I'm
Sure.
way whiter than you.
Like 1% African.
Does that count? Because, I can identify as that because I actually have the DNA to prove it.
Yeah,
So does that count?
I don't know. Because I guarantee you, that's going to be the next step. Do you think I'm crazy? That's going to be the next step. We're going to be like, well, now we're going to need some proof. We're going to need some proof that you are, what you say you are. But I agree. I think that, boards made up of diverse people, diverse ideas. I do think that is a good idea.
I agree too.
But forcing it in this way is a recipe for disaster. It's stupid, and it's going to let more people are going to leave California. You're forcing private companies now to be like, you have to. If you want to do business in California.
Oh no, Governor Newsom can go and take care of that, but he can't open flipping Disneyland.
Yeah, what does it matter? You're not going to have any companies left in California.
Right, they're all going out of business because you sat on your thumbs and did nothing this whole time. But when you do reopen, you have to follow these mandates. Now, the other side to all of this is there are a lot of people out there who are very qualified, who are diverse people, and it might be a way to get, like you said, new voices and new ideas in there, which is not a bad thing.
No.
But it's just that the way they're doing it, it's going to be in such a way that it's going to cause rifts between people. It's going to cause people to be angry to where it's going to cause more division. Is all it's going to cause.
It's going to cause more division and more racism.
Just do it. Just go ahead and do these things, but don't make a big announcement about it. Just find qualified individuals because you want a more diverse representation. That's fine. Do that. But you don't have to make a shot for the rooftops and make it mandated by law. All it's going to do is cause more hatred, more division, more issues that shouldn't even be there. But you're perpetuating them and then yelling at everybody else being an islamophobe when you yourself created the problem.
Yeah, I'm just, God, California's just blowing itself up. Hollywood and California are just blowing themselves up. And what's going to happen is everybody's going to quietly leave.
Yeah, I'd recommend getting the hell out of there if I were you.
They're going to go to other parts of the country. And they're actually going to organically probably attract more diverse people because they're actually leaving the echo chamber of Los Angeles, of California, and you're going to find more diverse people. I mean, could you imagine if like studios started setting up in like, Mississippi or something, or, I mean.
Well, they're going to be in for a big surprise when they realize that just because you're diverse doesn't mean you have the same opinions they do. And the same leanings politically and all this stuff they do. Because there's a lot of people who are considered these, underrepresented groups, and they don't lean the same way or share the same opinions that Hollywood shares.
Well, look what's happening with Tulsi Gabbard. Like, they're jumping down her throat.
I would have voted for her.
Yeah, I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. But so it's going to be really interesting. Because what happens if you hire a trans person who maybe's got more conservative views than you're comfortable with? Because it
happens a lot.
It could happen. It absolutely happens.
Here's the next thing. What about sports? Because, why isn't there more diversity in sports?
We need more fat people playing basketball.
There you go. We need more body diversity. But we
need body diversity in sports. It doesn't matter if you're athletic or not. You have to be allowed to play.
I'm honestly thinking that a lot of sports stars are mostly black. Some are white. You don't see much diversity past that. Why don't we have women being allowed to play in men's basketball? I mean, if they're going to be all about these mandating and make things underrepresented, people are more representative in these things. Why don't we have people of different body sizes? Why don't we see more people that are Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American? Why aren't they allowed in? Why aren't we having Latin women in? To play these sports that are dominated by men? Because that would be underrepresented people. Where are the rules for that? California. Do the other rules apply to that too? Or is it just,
Don't give them
Where
ideas.
does it end?
Was it Napoleon who said you never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, actual creatives from all over the country, okay, I'm talking about everybody of every gender, every race, creed, religion, whatever.
Disability, body size, whatever.
Now is a golden opportunity because California and Los Angeles are effectively blowing themselves up. You can go start your own studio someplace else.
The only golden shower, only thing going on there is a golden shower.
California.
Only golden is a golden shower.
Yeah, don't call California the Golden State anymore. It's the Golden Shower state. But go start your own studio. Hire who you want to hire. And get on with it because this is absolute insanity, and it's all of Hollywood. I mean, Warner Media is doubling down. This is why we're seeing Rooster Teeth, going through and purging their content. Adult Swim going through and purging content, and this is all Hollywood and California. And let them do it.
Let them burn.
Let them blow themselves up. They haven't really been putting anything good out anyway. So
well, it's gonna get worse now.
It's gonna get a lot worse. Absolutely. So we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.